Whenever we go back through games that we missed out on, we ask ourselves one question. Does it hold up? I'm here to answer that question for you, so you don't have to waste time and money figuring it out for yourself. Freelancer is a space sim from 2003. At the time of this video's release, that has been 12 years, and in the game industry, that's a really long time. Freelancer was released in a time where space sims were starting to become more scarce. It's also the chronological sequel to Starlancer. Both Freelancer and Starlancer were made by Digital Anvil, a studio that initially had Chris Roberts of Star Citizen fame. But Roberts wasn't actually at the helm by the time Freelancer was released. The game was hugely ambitious, but Digital Anvil was being bought out by Microsoft, and Roberts left. Roberts did some consulting on the game, but Microsoft wanted them to reduce the game fairly significantly. Luckily, the reductions didn't completely ruin it. The game is significant today because it helped to light the fire that made Chris Roberts crowdfund Star Citizen. He never got to make the game that he really wanted to make, and that's what he's attempting to do today. Freelancer has had a good community of people around it for quite some time. Fortunately, that means there's a modding community. There have been graphical mods updated up to 2014 for Freelancer. I'll put a link to those mods in the dongle below. Even though there are mods that make the game look better, it does still look dated. You won't necessarily be blown away, and the character models especially show their age. That being said, it doesn't look too bad. Some of it is quite beautiful. Audio in the game is pretty good as well. Sound effects and music are what you would expect, giving you a good atmosphere to shoot down enemy ships.
Trent, we have to go faster.
The voice acting varies pretty hugely. A decent amount of the voice acting for the main story is well done, but some of the random people in stations' bars, for example, are poorly done.
Got a line on something?
This your first visit?
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, it all depends. I could have a match here for you, Mr.
I'm Trent.
Some voices are the same for people that are in the same place, with no attempts to mask it.
I can't deal with you. Your reputation's too low. Hello, what do you need?
Anything for me?
You're a stranger here, right?
This does stick out a bit, but it's not a deal breaker. Shooting enemies while dodging debris is pretty timeless. Your arsenal isn't hugely varied, though. It can feel a bit like you're just spamming the same weapon sometimes, probably because you are. There are missiles that you can utilize, and defensive abilities that renew your shield and hull instantly. There are a few other options depending on your ship's capabilities. The majority of your time in Freelancer will be spent moving from waypoint to waypoint, with combat happening in between. I highly recommend you use the speed mod included in the mods that I put in the description. It can take a while to get between waypoints, even with the mod. The systems that you'll be moving through have decent amounts of variance. You'll be moving through debris fields, asteroid fields, and various nebula. This gives a nice background for you when you're shooting down your enemies. Story missions are the part of the game that I found most interesting. The story is pretty intriguing, with a mystery that will keep you moving forward. There is a bit of a grind in between missions where you're left to your own devices to do as you please. During these sections you can take on jobs, trade commodities between different regions, or just find some shit to blow up. I found these sections to be a bit pointless. I would have been happier if I could just move forward in the story without the gap in between. It doesn't take too long to get through though, so it's not that big of a deal. So now that we've explored the different aspects of the game, we come back to our initial question. Does the game hold up? For me, the answer is yes. The feeling of flying around in Freelancer is still great even by today's standards. In fact, there are a few recent games that can hold up to it. It helps that there aren't as many entries in the genre, But with the resurgence of space sims, with games like Star Citizen, No Man's Sky, and Elite Dangerous, we might be seeing some great new space sims. The only problem, and for some this might actually be a deal breaker, is that you can't download the game from current online game stores. The only way you can play it is by buying a physical copy and then installing it. Luckily, the game sells for around $20 through sites like Amazon. Do yourself a favor and pick up a copy. This has been Does It Hold Up with me, Melchior's from Game Clouds. Have a good night, friends.